How's married life treating you guys?
Oh my God, it is so much fun. You know, marrying your best mate is just, it's the best. It's the best.
Yeah,
People always say you should marry your best friend.
it's true. It's the best advice, yeah. And we feel like we're on like a play date forever.
For years, the Beckham family looked untouchable. Perfect smiles, luxury everywhere. That loud nothing can touch us vibe was their whole brand. But now that glossy image is cracking fast, and the mess underneath is spilling out in real time for the world to see.
Nicola's father is Nelson Peltz. You can even see Brooklyn in a picture here in the Google search. And Nicola and Elon Musk. He's worth $1.6 billion.
Right at the center of the chaos sits Brooklyn Beckham, his wife Nicola Peltz, and her billionaire father Nelson Peltz. A man insiders claim never believed Brooklyn was on his daughter's level.
Nicola Peltz is reportedly getting $1 million a month from her dad, Nelson Peltz, which sounds like a ton of money, but remember, her dad is a billionaire. So how much does $1 million a month even mean to him? And how did he get so rich that even the Beckhams look budget in comparison?
What used to be quiet tension and side-eye energy behind closed doors has now turned into a straight-up family standoff, and it's escalating fast. We're talking legal letters being sent, statements that hit like gut punches, and a freezing silence where warmth once lived.
What is my biggest fear?
Well, I know a funny one. He hates square plates and big...
Oh my gosh. I'm not scared of them, but they more like just piss me off. There's one animal that I just don't like.
Oh, I don't know that. Snakes?
I love snakes.
I don't know an animal you like.
Don't?
What was this? Was this a hint?
It's that big.
A rat?
I don't mind that.
A hamster?
No, I'm not scared of a hamster.
An armadillo? Can say...
A what?
No?
An armadillo.
No, you went like this. They're kind of big, right?
I hate cockroaches.
Oh, what? The cockroach is not this big.
Some are.
This big?
Yes.
This isn't a small misunderstanding anymore. Lines have been crossed, trust has been shaken, and pretending everything is fine is officially off the table. And now the question everyone's whispering, and some are afraid to ask, is explosive. Has Brooklyn really carved out his own lane, or did he get fully pulled into the powerful Peltz universe? Because behind those glossy Instagram shots and emotional love captions, there's a real power struggle happening. This isn't just romance. It's control, loyalty, and influence clashing head-on. Why did it reach this point? Because by then, communication had completely collapsed. No calls, no real conversations, just tension piling up until it finally snapped. And here's the real bombshell. Brooklyn allegedly sent his parents a cease and desist notice, demanding they stop speaking about him publicly and route all contact through lawyers. That's when this stopped being family drama and turned into a straight-up legal showdown. That single move sent shockwaves through the entire Beckham camp. But it wasn't just the legal paperwork that rattled them. According to people close to the family, what truly shook David and Victoria was who they believed was pulling the strings. They were convinced this wasn't Brooklyn acting alone. They suspected heavy influence from Nicola and her powerful family, especially her billionaire father, Nelson Peltz. The letter David and Victoria sent back wasn't aggressive. It wasn't defensive. Insiders say it was raw, emotional, and deeply personal. No threats, no ultimatums, just two parents asking one thing, reassurance that their son was okay. But instead of easing tensions, it blew everything up even more. Just days later, Brooklyn went public with a fiery post, making it clear he wasn't backing down. He said he was finally standing up for himself and shut down claims that Nicola was controlling anything. It was loud, it was messy, and it was impossible to ignore. The Beckham family drama officially hit a whole new level when Brooklyn fired back, insisting the entire story being told about him was completely twisted. The moment everything flipped was when Brooklyn went public. No filters, no soft edits. He dropped a long, emotional social media post that aimed straight at his own parents, and it hit hard. He accused David and Victoria Beckham of twisting the narrative, putting their brand above their family, and repeatedly disrespecting his wife, Nicola. This wasn't online noise, it was a digital line in the sand. Brooklyn didn't water it down, not even slightly. The message was sharp, direct, and impossible to misread. There was zero space left for spin, excuses, or damage control. Then he doubled down. He made it crystal clear he was choosing Nicola, period. Any chance of peace talks with his family? Shut down. No, maybe later. No, we're trying. Just a clean, icy cutoff that stunned fans everywhere. But here's where things get even crazier. Sources close to the Beckham circle say that post didn't come out of nowhere. Something serious went down behind closed doors. Before Brooklyn went public, David and Victoria reportedly sent him a private letter, not online, not through intermediaries, and not leaked, but delivered straight to him personally. He pushed back hard, saying it was never Nicola pulling the strings. According to Brooklyn, it was his own parents who had controlled his life for years, and this time he was done for good. He made it clear, no turning back, no second chances, no rewinds. But here's where opinions split fast, because while Brooklyn says he's finally free, the moves he's made since cutting ties tell a very different story. Since the fallout, his entire world appears locked into the Peltz circle. Same social scene, same inner circle, same bubble. Reports even claim communication with his parents now happens only through intermediaries, which has people side-eyeing the situation hard. That's why more voices are saying this isn't just emotional fallout anymore. This looks like a full-on power struggle playing out in public. And then there's the moment everyone keeps circling back to, the wedding. More specifically, the now infamous first dance. Brooklyn claimed that what should have been a private, romantic moment with Nicola turned awkward when his mother stepped in and took over the spotlight. He said it left him feeling exposed and embarrassed in front of the entire room. According to Brooklyn, Nicola ran out in tears afterward. That moment didn't just spark whispers, it may have lit the fuse. People remember that night differently, sure, but one thing nobody argues with. That moment changed everything. Witnesses say the energy in the room never recovered. The vibe in that room shifted instantly. What began as a night of love and celebration split right down the middle in seconds. Instead of uniting two powerful families, that single dance left a mark that still hasn't healed today. Even people who tried to stay neutral admit it wasn't about music, timing, or choreography at all. It was about emotions, respect, boundaries. This wasn't just a mother and son moment that went sideways. It was a quiet clash over space, power, and pride playing out in front of everyone. For Nicola, that night reportedly became the point of no return. Sources say once the wedding ended, her position was locked in. Behind the scenes, Brooklyn was faced with a brutal choice: keep the peace with his mother or stand firmly beside his wife. And from that moment on, the direction was clear. Brooklyn chose Nicola, no hesitation, no backtracking, and from there, everything between him and his family reportedly turned ice cold. Invitations allegedly declined. Family gatherings skipped without explanation. Direct communication completely shut down. Insiders claim Nicola has stood her ground, refusing to be present anywhere David and Victoria Beckham might be. What started as one tense moment on a dance floor may have reshaped the entire family dynamic forever. Now, whether you see that as protecting her peace or making a straight power move depends on your angle. Either way, the outcome is impossible to miss. Brooklyn Beckham, once the golden boy of one of the most famous families on the planet, now stands almost completely cut off from the people who raised him. And while Nicola continues to shine front and center in the spotlight, the most powerful figure in this entire storm stays almost totally silent. Watching, waiting, calculating. Her father, Nelson Peltz, the billionaire investor and corporate heavyweight, plays on a totally different level. This is a man built on control, structure, and long-game strategy. And according to multiple reports, he was never exactly impressed by Brooklyn. Insiders say Nelson quietly dismissed Brooklyn's career pivots, photography, cooking, lifestyle branding, seeing them as scattered and lacking real direction. No public insults, no messy confrontations, just that cold, quiet doubt that cuts deeper than words. And when someone with Nelson's kind of money and influence isn't convinced by you, it matters a lot, especially when that same person effectively controls the world you've just stepped into through marriage. But here's the detail that's really got people talking and quietly worrying about what Brooklyn's future might actually look like. Before the wedding even happened, a tight prenuptial agreement was locked in. No gray areas, no loopholes. The terms were crystal clear. If the marriage ever ended, Brooklyn wouldn't see a single penny of the Peltz fortune. Under that deal, he'd walk away with only what he and Nicola built together. Nothing extra, nothing inherited. And that's why this clause raised more than eyebrows. It raised real alarms, because this wasn't just about money, it was about control. People close to the situation say the agreement wasn't only protecting wealth, it was defining who truly holds the leverage inside this marriage. If this relationship ever unraveled, the fallout for Brooklyn would be massive. After cutting ties with his parents, he wouldn't just lose his wife, he'd lose his entire safety net in one move. That's the fear insiders say keeps David and Victoria awake at night. The idea that their son may have handed over his future with no backup plan. For any parent, that's a nightmare scenario. And that worry has reportedly been hanging over them since the split began. Still, despite all the tension, heartbreak, and public chaos, people close to the Beckhams insist one thing hasn't changed. The door home is still wide open. They say David and Victoria would welcome Brooklyn back instantly. No conditions, no public apologies, no strings attached, just love. But Brooklyn's position couldn't be clearer. He says he has zero regrets. He believes he finally spoke his truth, and he feels fully justified walking away. Meanwhile, the rest of the Beckham family keeps it moving. Siblings leveling up, careers expanding. The Beckham brand still rolling strong like nothing can slow it down. Except for one glaring absence, Brooklyn. And now, voices from his past are starting to surface. People who knew Brooklyn Beckham long before the spotlight, long before the fame, and long before Nicola are asking a tough question. Is the freedom he's fighting for actually freedom at all? What's being said now isn't pretty for anyone involved. And one of the most unexpected voices didn't come from Hollywood or social media. It came straight from the football world. Brooklyn's former youth coach from Queens Park Rangers finally spoke up, and his words landed heavy. He didn't pick sides, didn't defend David and Victoria, didn't hype Brooklyn's choices either. Instead, he painted a picture that made a lot of people uncomfortable. A childhood that looked flashy from the outside, but was quietly packed with pressure, anxiety, and distance. According to the coach, Brooklyn grew up surrounded by full-time security by the age of 14, constantly watched, constantly protected, always managed, and yet never truly free. That revelation alone has people rethinking everything they thought they knew about this family fallout. He said fame and money never brought balance or peace, only nonstop pressure to be perfect. His words cracked open the glossy Beckham image, and for the first time, people started seeing fractures that existed long before Brooklyn Beckham ever walked away. Even for someone used to coaching kids from high-profile families, he admitted parts of Brooklyn's upbringing felt unsettling. He didn't accuse anyone. He didn't name names. But the message was loud and clear. Brooklyn didn't grow up like other kids. That lack of normalcy made him vulnerable. Vulnerable to pressure, vulnerable to influence, vulnerable to believing that cutting everyone off was the only way to protect himself. And this is where the story gets deeply uncomfortable. When you strip away the emotions and noise, one hard truth stands out. Nicola Peltz didn't leave her world to enter Brooklyn's. Brooklyn left his to enter hers. She stayed rooted in her powerful family, kept her circle tight, held on to her independence without compromise. Meanwhile, Brooklyn drifted farther from the structure he was raised in. He didn't just step away from his family. He let go of the safety net that came with being a Beckham. His emotional world became anchored to one household, one power center, the Peltz empire. That shift didn't just change his lifestyle, it rewired the entire balance of power in his life. And now, people everywhere are asking the same uneasy question. Will Brooklyn ever find his way back to real balance again? The real imbalance people keep pointing to sits inside the Peltz household. And that's what has so many quietly worried, not because anyone is a villain, and not because Brooklyn is weak. It's because isolation changes everything when one powerful family becomes your entire emotional anchor. Influence starts growing even when nothing is said out loud. That kind of quiet control can be stronger than anything loud or public. And through all the noise, chaos, and headlines, one person has stayed completely silent. Nelson Peltz. No denials, no statements, no public defense of his son-in-law, just silence. But with Nelson, silence isn't accidental. It's strategic. People familiar with his world describe him as sharp, calculated, and nearly impossible to impress. Image doesn't move him. Celebrity doesn't sway him. According to reports, he views Brooklyn as talented but scattered. A young man with potential, but no clear lane yet. Still leaning on the Beckham name more than he may even realize. And when someone with Nelson's level of wealth and influence quietly forms an opinion like that, it doesn't stay private. It shapes everything happening behind those mansion doors. That perception may not be completely fair, but when serious power, money, and legacy are involved, perception becomes reality. And that's what makes this situation so heavy. And insiders say Nelson's doubts have only deepened as Brooklyn's feud with his parents keeps escalating. Because in elite circles, cutting off your own family doesn't scream independence. It signals instability. It sparks whispers, raises red flags, and quietly plants doubts about judgment, loyalty, and long-term reliability. Behind the scenes, there's another pressure point shaping everything. Brooklyn's ongoing identity struggle with his career. Photography, cooking, lifestyle branding, one lane today, a new pivot tomorrow. Each shift pulls public side-eye and, reportedly, private concern inside the Peltz circle. While David Beckham built his empire through discipline, focus, and years of locked-in consistency, Brooklyn's path looks more like trial and error. Lots of experimentation, unfinished chapters, and no clear endgame yet. To the outside world, it feels like he's still searching for what truly defines him. And for a family like the Peltz clan, where structure, control, and strategy rule everything, that level of unpredictability doesn't sit well at all. That contrast matters more than people realize. One family is built on legacy, loyalty, and endurance. The other runs on results, leverage, and dominance. Put those worlds together and you don't just get tension, you guarantee friction. Insiders say Nelson Peltz has never been fully convinced Brooklyn brings enough to the table financially, strategically, or symbolically. Because in Nelson's world, value isn't about love or image, it's about power. And that's exactly where the imbalance shows. People close to David and Victoria Beckham say this shift in their son didn't happen overnight. They claim it crept in slowly, almost invisible at first. Decisions Brooklyn once made on his own started getting checked elsewhere. Conversations felt filtered, like every word had to be cleared first. And what used to be private family talks suddenly involved lawyers. Those closest to the Beckhams insist Brooklyn wasn't always like this. He didn't speak about his parents with distance. He didn't frame them as villains. Somewhere along the way, they say his tone changed. And so did the story he began telling about where he came from. Brooklyn completely rejects that version. He calls it false from start to finish. But even with that denial, the timing is impossible to ignore. The closer he grew to Nicola, the farther he drifted from his parents, step by step. And here's what makes this feud even more telling. It's not just about who's involved, it's about who isn't. Brooklyn's siblings have remained close to David and Victoria, still posting family photos, celebrating milestones together, showing public love without cutting ties. That contrast stands out loud and clear. Same household, same upbringing, completely different outcomes. And that difference has become one of the most revealing parts of this entire family breakdown. They've managed to build their own lives, their own lanes, while keeping the family bond locked in tight. That contrast has fueled non-stop speculation. Maybe this isn't some deep, family-wide issue after all. Maybe it's something far more personal and far more specific to Brooklyn. And that's where the uncomfortable question hits hard. If the Beckham household was really as controlling as Brooklyn claims, why was he the only one who walked away completely and did it so publicly? Some fans praise him for standing his ground, saying he's finally owning his truth. But insiders say the emotional cost behind closed doors has been brutal. Scars have formed that no spotlight can hide. No casual calls, no random Sunday dinners, no easy check-ins. Every interaction between Brooklyn and his family is now formal, filtered, and handled like a business transaction. And once relationships reach that stage, rebuilding isn't just hard, it's nearly impossible. Most celebrity family feuds follow a predictable cycle: shock, silence, then a glossy reconciliation moment. But this one refuses to follow the script, because this isn't just emotional, it's structural. Two powerful families, two totally different worlds, two clashing value systems, and one son stuck right in the middle with no clear exit. And if you want to stay ahead of this story, catch what happens next, and get raw celebrity breakdowns without the fluff, make sure you subscribe to Hollywood Retro now, because this saga is far from finished.